Sword Art Online is easily the worst anime ever made, and the biggest reason for that is the main character, Kirito. He's not just a bad protagonist, he's the worst character in all of anime, period. Kirito is a lifeless, overpowered self-insert with no depth, no growth, and no real personality. He coasts through the story with no real struggle, while every character around him exists only to admire him or fall in love with him. The plot constantly warps itself to make him look good, removing any real tension or stakes. Kirito's dialogue is robotic, his relationships are shallow, and he never earns any of his victories. There's no arc, no transformation, no humanity. And because everything in Sword Art Online revolves around Kirito, the entire show collapses under the weight of his character's failure. And Kirito being a terrible character isn't just a hot take either. In Japan, his name is literally used as a slang term to mock people with garbage taste in anime. Imagine being such a bland, overpowered, self-insert mess that your name becomes an insult. That's next-level embarrassment. If I were Kirito, I'd change my name immediately just to escape the stink of being associated with that legacy. It's honestly pathetic how people look up to Kirito and waste their energy defending him. These clowns are even more delusional than K-pop stans who still bend over backwards for disgraced idols like Seungri, Chris Wu, and Tail. At least those fans are blinded by fame. What's your excuse for idolizing a nobody? Kirito is the ultimate cringe magnet, constantly trying to be a cool, edgy hero, but failing so spectacularly, it's almost impressive. With all the personality of a cardboard box and an endless stream of "look how awesome I am" moments, he's unbearable to watch. It's genuinely baffling that anyone actually idolizes Kirito. Like, do these people not have free will? Are they being held hostage by their own bad taste? Out of all the characters in anime, this is the one they choose to look up to? A walking plank of wood with zero personality and unlimited plot armor? It's almost impressive how low the bar is. If Bully Maguire from Spider-Man 3 wasn't bad enough, Kirito somehow manages to be even more annoying. At least Bully Maguire had some humor in his ridiculousness. Kirito, on the other hand, is just eye roll after eye roll. He perfectly represents everything wrong with Sword Art Online. Overhyped, poorly written, and completely hollow. If you're looking for the epitome of bad anime characters, Kirito is your guy. It's like Kirito watched the latest Crow movie and thought copying the main character head to toe, minus the black eyeliner, would make him look deep and mysterious. Instead, Kirito comes across as a wannabe edgelord straight out of a Hot Topic clearance bin. His trench coat and all-black look are more laughable than intimidating, and his entire vibe feels like a cosplay disaster. The black outfit is trying way too hard. It's the equivalent of those wannabe goth kids who think dressing in all black automatically makes them cool and edgy. You just know Kirito's playlist is packed with Linkin Park on repeat, and he probably considers Donnie Darko the pinnacle of cinema. Instead of coming across as intriguing or impressive, Kirito just looks like someone desperately trying to convince everyone he is more brooding and complex than he actually is. The whole aesthetic screams, "Look at me, I'm dark and misunderstood," when really, he's just awkwardly cosplaying as an edgelord stereotype. And seriously, why is Kirito even called the Black Swordsman? Let's get one thing straight. Guts from Berserk is the real Black Swordsman. He earned that title through years of blood, sweat, and tragedy, wielding a colossal blade and fighting against unimaginable odds. Kirito, on the other hand, doesn't even come close. The title is unearned, it's shallow, and honestly insulting to the legacy of characters who actually embody their titles. If you're going to borrow a moniker as iconic as the Black Swordsman, you'd better bring more to the table than a sleek outfit and dual-wielding in a video game. Is this what Sword Art Online considers peak character design? It's embarrassing. The fact that anyone could call Kirito cool is mind-blowing. He's what a toddler thinks a badass should look like. Edgy outfit, zero personality, and a too serious for emotions attitude that's more pathetic than heroic. To anyone with actual standards, Kirito is painfully cringy and impossible to take seriously. Kirito doesn't have depth or charm. He's just a generic self-insert for the dullest power fantasies. Sword Art Online pretends pretending he's a legendary hero is laughable. Watching Kirito is pure secondhand embarrassment, and he has the perfect symbol of why Sword Art Online is one of the worst anime of all time. Kirito tries so hard to come off as cool and edgy, but none of it lands. Take his constant, over-the-top declarations that he is a solo player who doesn't care about anyone else. It's supposed to make him seem aloof and mysterious, but it completely falls apart the moment you actually watch the show. The guy never plays solo. In episode 3, he joined the moonlit Black Cats. In episode 4, he partied with Silica. Episodes 5 and 6, he teamed up with Asuna to solve a murder mystery. Episode 7, he was adventuring with Lisbeth. And for the rest of the series, he's practically glued to Asuna's side. How exactly does that scream solo player? It's all just empty posturing, and it makes him come off as trying way too hard to project an image that he clearly doesn't live up to. If anything, Kirito isn't a solo player. He is the guy who can seem to go 5 minutes without latching onto someone else. And let's not forget that Kirito unironically likes the nickname Beater. Are you serious? That's one of the dumbest names imaginable. It sounds like something a bunch of middle school boys would jokingly call each other after losing No Nut November. Yet Kirito, in all his wannabe edgy glory, proudly declares himself to be a beater, like it's some kind of epic badge of honor. It is hard to take someone seriously when they strutting around with a nickname that sounds like it came straight out of a 10-year-old. Instead of making Kirito seem cool or intimidating, it just makes him look ridiculous. Like, Kirito, buddy, maybe workshop that name next time before you go shouting it to the world. You can't help but cringe. It's painfully obvious that Sword Art Online wasn't written for grown-ups because, let's be real, nobody in their right mind would willingly call themselves a beater. It's not edgy, it's not intimidating, it's just plain stupid. The name sounds like something a 3-year-old would come up with, thinking it's the height of cool, while everyone else is just embarrassed for them. Instead of sounding like a hardened solo player defying the system, it sounds like the punchline of a bad joke. Kirito embracing it with such seriousness only makes it worse, turning what could have been a self-aware moment into peak cringe. Additionally, Kirito constantly acts like he's burdened with the weight of the world on his shoulders, as if he's endured unimaginable hardships. Yet, when you actually dig into his so-called dark past, it boils down to him giving up kendo. That's it. That's the traumatic backstory he broods about. It's laughable that Kirito frames this relatively mundane decision as if it's some life-altering, soul-crushing event. Plenty of people quit hobbies or sports without turning it into a cornerstone of their identity or acting like it defines their personal struggles. The way Kirito treats this as a defining tragedy is not only over the top, but also tone-deaf compared to actual hardships faced by other characters in the series, or even by actual heroes in other stories. Kirito wants to project this image of a deeply wounded, stoic hero, but when you realize what he's actually lamenting, it just makes him look self-absorbed and melodramatic. Instead of coming across as a tragic figure, he ends up feeling like someone desperately trying to make mountains out of molehills for the sake of attention. And speaking of attention, Kirito has an infuriating habit of acting like he's the center of the universe. And worse, the show goes out of its way to validate this delusion. Time and again, Kirito is positioned as the solution to every problem, no matter how implausible or unnecessary it is. Whether it's in-game or in the real world, Kirito is somehow always the chosen one, who swoops in to save the day. If there's a battle, he's the one to deliver the final blow. If there's a mystery, he conveniently figures it out. Even in moments that should logically involve a team effort or someone else stepping up, Kirito effortlessly takes the spotlight, leaving everyone else as little more than his cheerleaders or damsels in distress. This constant glorification feels less like organic storytelling and more like the writers bending over backward to make sure everyone knows just how amazing Kirito is. It doesn't make him heroic, it makes him obnoxiously overpowered and unrelatable, like a walking wish fulfillment fantasy with zero stakes or humility. As you can clearly see, Kirito is a trash character. To the people who idolize him, why? Are you really that sheltered that you don't know other fictional characters exist? If Kirito is your gold standard, then your taste is not only embarrassing, it's downright tragic. Out of all the rich, complex, and genuinely well-written protagonists out there, you chose him? That's like walking into a luxury buffet and proudly settling for stale bread. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for more ruthless Sword Art Online takedowns, because someone has to keep tearing this dumpster fire apart. There's still plenty more to rip apart. And don't worry, we'll also be tearing into the fan base for their atrocious taste and unbearable toxicity. If you thought the show was bad, the people who worship it somehow managed to be even worse.